Welcome back, my duelist friends, casual duelist. It is Monday. Happy Monday. Let's start the week off right, and let's see who was right. So what is Triple Punch? What game could that possibly be? Guys, if you guessed Pokemon TCG, then you'd be right. But did any of you guess that it would be the original series of Pokemon cards back from 99? If you didn't, well, surprise. Now, what makes Pokemon so hard to play moving forward as a game is they're quite like Magic the Gathering. They do rotate entire sets out, and until I find some very rare old cards, this deck's technically not finished. I do use cards that are reprints from second base set. Originally, this deck was built to be played at the end of Fossil. So it was only supposed to use the first 3 sets of the game, but they did make some reprints, so I allowed it when I was building this, because again, these cards are harder to come by. And I still even have one proxy in this. You guys will remember from Loot Report that there were gold stamp Electabuzz. Well, there's another one. I use it because I just don't own a 4th copy of the original Electabuzz. But this is this is the Triple Punch. This is a deck I used to use. And in my local area, this was one of the top 2 or 3 decks. We had this. There was a Blastoise build that ran pretty rampant. And the other one that did pretty well was a little bit more stallish. It was a scoop up damage swap. So you ended up using things like Alakazam and Chansey. And if you were more of a budgeted player, instead of the Chanseys, you went ahead and you utilized Onix, because they had to be basic Pokemon with high thresholds for damage. But we're not talking about that. We don't need to know that you started with an original 7-card hand, 1 character on the active, up to 5 on the bench, and 6 cards from your own deck face down as prizes. We just wanted to go over what the deck was, why we did it, and what was in it. So, let's go over the monsters real quick. We use 12 Pokemon monster cards. Of those, we're going to use 4 copies of Hitmonchan, 4 copies of Electabuzz, and 4 copies of Magmar. Now, the reason we use these is because when you actually look at them, they have some of the highest damage outputs, as well as some of the best effects on very low amounts of energy cost. So the point with this deck was quick knockouts, utilizing just the type alignments. Again, we're using electricity, fighting, and fire all at the same time. So let's go over the effects. And one of the reasons you had to wait till Fossil was because especially this Magmar. So this guy, they all have 70 hit points. This guy on 1 fire energy can start using the attack Smokescreen. After the defending Pokemon tries to attack next turn, flip a coin. If tails, does nothing, so you can just negate out. On 2 fire, flip coin. If heads, now it's poisoned, which means damage in between every turn. So we get the damage over time. We're going to get the knockouts over time. So again, you really, really want to use this guy to his best advantage, and that would be to maximize him. Next, Hitmonchan, one of my favorite OG pokes. Again, that's base, that's second base set, and it's base. This guy was a little easier to come by, just because like the base set one was part of a structure deck back then. Again, we get to do a solid 20 on 1, as well as do 40 on 3. So again, he does some of the best damage in the game, especially the early game. And again, you see a retreat cost. You'll have to discard 2 energy cards from him to do it. I should explain the weaknesses real quick. Back then, and I know that this has changed multiple times throughout Pokemon history, weakness used to mean double damage back then. So again, if going up against most grass, these fire types would deal double damage. So that 20 is 40. This 40 against a normal or some other monsters that take damage to fighting, like the electrics, this 40 becomes 80. Like, we're able to do some serious damage very early on. And then the Electabuzz, I preferred using this one. Thundershock on 1 was flip coin. If heads, we now paralyze the opponent. They have to now stat flip check coins in order to see whether or not they can attack me. On Thunder Punch, it's going to be 30 plus on 2, which will be 1 electric, 1 generic. Flip coin if heads does 30 plus 10. If tails does 30, and then Electabuzz will do the 10 to himself. So again, a little risk, a little reward. Again, high damage. This could be 30. This could be 60. And honestly, it could be like, if it goes up to doing the 40, then it'll double into the 80 afterward. And we are using the 1 Electabuzz promo. Again, light screen, whatever it attack does damage. Next turn, it'll be half, and other effects would still happen. So if I get poison, paralyzed, sleep, confuse. I'm not sure the burn was around then. I do believe that was added later, and it was like double damage off of poison. And then quick attack, flip coin. If heads, it's 10 plus 20 more. If tails, just does the 10. And again, fully generic on that attack, so we could use any energies to cast into it. So again, used my 3 favorites based on their utility for back then. And if I ever find a third Electabuzz, either base or base 2, I will just add it to this. And then I'll probably end up giving that same person the promotional one out of this. Back then, Pokemon had trainers. However, they did not have supporters. Supporters would be something towards, I want to say, the end of Gen 2, moving into Gen 3 cards. At which point a lot of these got kicked because a lot of these cards were not just cycled out, but then they were reinvented as supporters. So as supporters, these could only be played once per turn. Back then, you could play as many as you wanted. So check these out. The first guy we're going to use is going to be Bill. And again, second base, base, second base. This just lets you draw 2. It's like 4 pot of greeds, my guys. So good, so cool. So worth having. Next up, we have 4 copies of energy removal. And again, I got a second base, and base set. So again, there's going to be 4 of those. Choose an energy attached to one of your opponent's monsters. Take it off. This was part to contradict one of my own like all-star decks that has since been errated because they did reprint the cards once afterward, but worked back then. And really, it stops your opponent from using the bigger Pokemon attacks by really limiting how energetic their monsters were. Another card I was really happy for in the Fossil set was Energy Search. And what this does, search your deck for basic energy, put it in your hand, shuffle your deck. And again, we're going to use a lot of basic energy. And like I said, not all of my energy cards are from the past, but they're all energy cards that were available then. So that's why this is more of like a legacy build. Next up, 3 copies, Gust of Wind. And again, that's all 3 are second base set. This allows you to switch your opponent's Pokemon your way. So again, I look at my opponent, I go, yeah, he's got a Rattata. Rattata's got like 30 hit points. It's sitting on the bench. I know my Hitmonchan's out. He put out Pidgey or whatever because it resists fighting. I know I can get the KO on the Rattata, get a prize real quick, and apply more pressure. So I'm going to use Gust of Wind, and I'm going to swap the Pokemon the way that it benefits me best because of the Pokemon that I have out currently. So that's going to be awesome. That's, again, you're going to use it. Then I have 4 copies of the Plus Power, and I have these split between 2 of the second base and 2 of the regular base. What this is basically like an equipment card for Pokemon. And this is before they came out with like the Pokemon Tool cards, which actually did operate as equipment. This only lasts for the turn. Attach Plus Power to your active Pokemon. At the end of your turn, discard it. If this Pokemon's attack does damage to the defending Pokemon after weakness and resistance, give it an extra 10. So it doesn't increase the initial damage. And what I mean by that is let's just go right back to Electabuzz and the Thunder Punch. because it's part of the attack. If we get the heads there, this base attack, the base attack becomes 40, could double to 80, and then the plus power will only make it 90 instead of jumping to 100. So just a quick on how to, that's how to. And again, you could equip as many as you wanted, up to what you had in your hand. Next up, you wanted to use this card from the jungle set or second base, which was the Pokeball. Pokeball, flip coin. If heads, search your deck for any basic or evolution. Show it to your opponent. Shuffle your hand. No, sorry, put it in your hand. Shuffle your deck afterward. So again, if we get a flip of heads, we were able to just grab whichever one we wanted and put them on the bench afterward, which is fine. Fine. We're using 3 copies of the Professor Oak, and they were all the base set Professor Oak. Professor Oak says discard your hand, draw 7 new. This is like what we always wanted hand destruction to be in Yu-Gi-Oh! Was like a serious, full restarted hand. And the best part was, it didn't do it for your opponent. So you're the only one benefiting from a fresh hand, which is awesome. And again, I want to say out of all of these, this and Bill, I think actually were the 2 that became supporters first. So again, you couldn't, outside of playing like a time period match, these cards are really just kind of useless outside of, collector's value. Next card up helped us cut on using our energy cards for our retreat costs. It's the opposite of Gust of Wind. It is Switch. Switch allows us to take the action of switching our active with one of our benched. Our choice, no payment of retreat cost because we're doing it by card effect. And it is just perfect. And additionally, these ones were all second base. So all of these cards, except my energies, come from the first 4 sets of the game. And all second base was, for anybody who's actually curious, the set release went base set, jungle set, fossil set, second base set, second base being a reprint of base and jungle. So just in case you were curious, let me pause real quick. We'll slap some energies on here, and then we'll do the whole thank you guys. All right. So as far as the energies go, I'm going to count these out because I don't remember these by heart the way I remember everything else. But it's going to be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of the electricity. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Maybe it's all 7s. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So it was. And where they showed you the set release on the originals will be up in the top. It's like second and second base. Who even knows anymore? I don't. One of you guys is probably smarter than me on that. Second base. Don't even know. Got some base set fighting energies. Yeah, all of them. And electricity should be just about the same as well. But again, I don't think they ever limited the energy cards. So I do believe you guys could play with these original energies even in today's tournaments, just because the card's still around. And I think that even though they're no longer with Game Freak Wizards of the Coast, I do think that they still follow in that same sort of concept. Whereas if the card is a reprint and still has the same effect, go ahead and use it. But this is very fun. It's very fun. I have a couple of others. I got some that I built out of stuff for the Team Rocket set, which I want to say came after the second base, but I'm not 100,000% sure anymore. Because I know Gym Leaders were in there somewhere, and then it was Team Rocket, or it was Team Rocket, then Gym Leaders. Not sure. But it was fun. I had a lot of fun doing this. Guys, if you enjoyed it, thumbs up, comment, like, subscribe, all of the things, none of the things. Try to have a great day. Let me know if you guys want some more of these. Because I might tape ahead for next week here shortly. And if you do, I'm thinking I'll pull out a Digimon deck next. Or something, I don't know. Maybe Naruto, you decide. And then maybe we'll start doing Master Duel on Mondays. Or if you guys are still maybe filing in with all the votes on what to do as far as the casual duelist gaming, which games to play first, and if you guys are into it. The page should already be up. Whether or not I got around to organizing, getting icons and stuff, that is what we're going to be up to next. This I need to put away, put it back in storage. And seriously, thanks for stopping by, guys. I enjoyed it. I hope you did too. And we got some more stuff for you. We've actually got the Bastion deck tomorrow. So check it out. We'll do the water control speed duel. And I'll see you guys later. Peace.